Yep, I'm gonna start. Okay. Good afternoon. I am Donna Smith. I am the Director of Community Outreach and Education for the Beale Regional Health Foundation, and it is our mission to identify and address the diverse health needs in our community. We provide grant funding to nonprofits that address health and wellness and work with local agencies to promote collaboration in addressing the health and wellness needs in our community. Before we get started, just a little housekeeping. If you could please mute your mics during the presentation to decrease bounce back. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, or if there's time at the end of the presentation, you can unmute and ask them then. This presentation will be recorded so we can share it later. So we'll let you know when the recording stops to allow for questions after that. So thank you to our partner today in today's Lunch and Learn, that's Inventors in Training with a Purpose. And today we're talking with Matthew Costa. He is the Northern Director of Exercise Training, and he has Shelby Slommers. She's an intern assisting him with demonstrations. Matt has his master's in adaptive physical activity and undergraduate degree in exercise science from Slippery Rock University. They serve roughly 100 clients in the area, from school-age children and youth to senior citizens. Adventures in Training was also featured in our January health chat with WKBN, so you can tune in to WKBN this week to learn more about the great work that Adventures in Training is doing for our community. So I'm going to turn it over to Matt now, and he's going to talk to us about some fitness that we can do at home.
Thank you so much, Donna. Thank you guys all for coming out today. Like Donna said, we are a nonprofit organization. We're based kind of northwestern Pennsylvania. We are kind of created to help everyone, but those most in need improve their quality of life through purposeful physical training. Started in 2015, just doing at-home stuff. Since then, we've actually grown to do this just about everywhere. We have 3 locations that we primarily service out of. One is our Hermitage location. With that Hermitage location, we also service the Sharon and Farrell area school districts. We have a veterans program in Youngstown, as well as our headquarters is now located in Wexford, Pennsylvania. So throughout all these programs, we kind of still do the same thing. We do that functional mobility training, working on balance, working on stability, kind of what each individual needs most. We work on that. We have them come to us. We do a risk and goals assessment. From there, we create a program specific to them. No program will be the same. Everything is focused on them, improve their quality of life, decrease their pain, and just help anyone and everyone at all ages. So as we age, physical activity becomes very important. It's recommended for adults ages 18 to 65 to engage in a minimum of 30 minutes of exercise 5 days a week. That's at moderate. You're kind of sweating, but you could do a little bit more. Or 3 sessions a week for 20 minutes vigorous. You're working as hard as you can. You're pouring sweat. What I'll tell you that I recommend to everyone is anything is always better than nothing. And to even further elaborate on that, if you really create a detailed plan, which we'll kind of go over a little bit of today, that is going to be the best thing for you. There is no cookie cutter method for exercise. There is no cookie cutter recipe for rehab. So what we kind of do is make it individualized to everyone. But this is what our governing body came out and said. 5 times a week for 30 minutes if you're at that moderate intensity, 3 times a week for at least 20 minutes if you're at that vigorous intensity. So kind of, if you look at this, not everyone exercises, yet alone not every of the people who do exercise, not everyone is able to reach those guidelines. Actually, only about 50% of adults reach those guidelines every week, an astonishing number. That number has been decreasing over the past 20 years as the next 2 numbers have been increasing. So if you look here, life expectancy has increased since the start of 2020. It's gone up 1.3 years in men, 1.3 in women. The problem with that is healthy life expectancy has dropped in men by 2 years and women in 4 years. So what this graph is saying that, yes, we are living longer, but males typically spend the last 11 years of their life with a chronic pain, a disability, or a significant illness, and women actually spend the last 14 years of their life with a chronic condition, illness, disability, whatever you want to call it. What ATP's goal is to reduce those unhealthy years at the end of an individual's life. Maybe they did have or they were diagnosed with a chronic condition. What we want to do is decrease the amount of effects that this chronic condition has on an individual. So if we keep working through here, there's a kind of cool book. It was called Physical Dimensions of Aging. It was written by a woman named Juanine Spiristo. In her book, she was talking about these cultural assumptions affiliated with aging. When a kid falls off a bike, the kid is taught to, okay, hey, get back on the bike, you'll be okay. When we get a little bit older, maybe 50, 60 years old, we get under this notion of, oh, hey, you fell off your bike, why don't you shouldn't get on that bike anymore, you're gonna get hurt. That doesn't always have to be the case. I'm and ATP, not just myself. ATP is real big on, hey, we can still improve this quality of life. Hey, let's get back on the bike, but let's create a safe way to get back on the bike. Maybe we add a training wheel. Maybe we do all of this other training and allow us to get back on the bike safely. And as we age, it doesn't mean that we have to become unfit. A gold medal Olympic athlete from the 1912 games would not even place in 2018 senior games. So you take the best athlete in the 100-meter dash in 1912, so just over 100 years ago, you put them up against the senior game athletes from 4 years ago. Those Olympians who we thought were the best athletes in the world at the time aren't even placing against what we would now call seniors. So the research is showing that even as we age, that muscular strength, that muscular endurance can be improved upon. It can be improved upon in almost like a world-class setting. We can really be world-class athletes, even though we are continuing to age. So if we look here, our functional mobility wellness training program hits all of these components. All of these components are very important in everyone's everyday of life. What we're going to do today is we're going to work on our muscular strength, endurance, and flexibility of our entire body. So I'm going to have Shelby hop in the screen for us. We're going to start with a couple things that you can do for upper body. Most of our activities of daily living require upper body strength. Think about brushing your teeth. Think about getting in and out of the car, stuff like that. Cooking dinner, you definitely need your upper body strength. Another thing that does always come with aging is that loss of bone density. What we can do, especially through all of our exercises, we need to incorporate a little bit of tension put on those bones. So as our bones feel the tension, they're going to build a stronger and stronger and stronger. So if we do have a fall, we do fall off that bike, if you will, our bones will be strong enough. We won't become hurt. We'll be able to rehab a little bit easier if we even need rehabilitation. Think your body as a plane. Before I start, think your body as a plane. Your brain is the cockpit, so we always need to be sharp in the brain. Your body is kind of the body of the plane. It requires routine maintenance or an exercise plan to yield the best results. And the fuel that you put into the plane is the nutrition. All three are extremely important. Maintenance on all three is extremely important. What I'm here to do today is kind of give you the maintenance plan for the body of the plane. So if we start, one of the easiest things you can do at home is a push-up. So when you're doing push-ups, go ahead, we're gonna start on a counter. You're gonna have your feet back. You're gonna have your hands shoulder width apart as so. You're gonna go down nice and slow. Allow your shoulder blades to come back, kind of pause at the bottom, and then you're slowly gonna push yourself back up. You don't want, if you do have kind of a shoulder problem, you can always walk your feet a little bit closer and do kind of a modified push-up. Once these begin to get too easy, you can go ahead and do this on the floor as a regular push-up. Again, if you do have a little bit of shoulder problems, you can always go ahead and go on your knees. Go ahead and go on your knees, Shelby. Yep. Nice and slow. Always keep a neutral spine. Don't duck your head with push-ups. That's the biggest thing people misconstrue with push-ups is you want to do as many as you can and you begin to put a ton of tension and pressure on your neck. Make sure you always have a neutral spine. Make sure you're always going slow and make sure you're always breathing. For every exercise, you always want to breathe in on the easier part of the exercise and breathe out on the harder part of the exercise. So again, Begin your push-ups on a nice counter, nice and easy. Once you can get about 15 easily, go ahead and try them on the floor. Okay. For our next exercise, this is something you can do out of the chair as well. We didn't have a chair with arms, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Shelby use the desk right here. Shelby, you're going to go ahead and use the desk. You're just going to have your arms go right behind you. Face your body away from the desk. Hands right on. Have your feet a couple inches away from the desk. Then all you're going to do is let your body weight slowly go down, bending your elbows and pushing yourself back up. So again, you can use this as a stretch and then as an exercise as well to build that muscular strength and muscular endurance. So go ahead. As you're going down, it's always important to make sure that you can get back up from whatever position you're in. You want to bend your elbows. Always make sure that your hands are safely on whatever surface you are using it on. Again, do 8 to 10 to 15. Once you're really, really good, go ahead and show them, Shelby, how you do it off the edge of a chair. So, yep. Nope. Go ahead and put your hands on the chair. Walk your feet away from the chair. Have your butt slide off the chair. Nope. Hey, keep your hands on the chair like this. Yep. So you're just slowly going to press off that chair as you're going. Again, always make sure you can return to that upright position. Always making sure you're protecting your elbows, your shoulders, and you're always doing everything safely. So the next thing that we're going to do, so we've been doing a couple push exercises for our upper body. We're going to do pulls or kind of some postural balance stuff. So the first thing that we're going to do from a seated position, go ahead and move that chair into the middle of the room for me, please. All we're going to do is work on those back muscles that keep us upright. One thing that we do as we begin to age is we lean forward and our back begins to get rounded and rounded and rounded. As we age, we want to avoid this. We want to always have a big chest. So the first thing that we're going to do from this seated position is you're just going to lift your arms out to the side and pause and come down nice and slow. Up, pause, nice and slow. Now, for someone with maybe a joint mobility in the elbow, it is okay to bend your elbow. Try to keep it as straight as possible. So you'll begin with the T's. Go ahead out nice and slow to a T. Then after you get about 8, 10 of those, go ahead and you're going to go into a Y. Just like you're making the letter Y, MCA, if you were doing the dance, go ahead and reach those arms back as far as you can and come down nice and slow. So always feel free to do this from a chair. If doing this from a chair begins to be too easy, go ahead and stand up. And you're going to do the same exact exercises from a standing position. So if your feet shoulder width apart, you'll get into that T, kind of squeeze your shoulder blades together, sticking your chest out, do 8 or 10 T's, and then go ahead and get 8 or 10 Y's. Again, always moving nice and slow, always breathing in the easy phase of the exercise and breathing out in the hard phase of the exercise. This is something that can be made harder as well. If both the seated and standing begin to be too easy, you can stick 2 water bottles in your hand or a water bottle in each hand and do the same thing. Weight it so your body has to work with just that little bit of additional stress on it. Okay. So the last thing that I want to tell you guys when doing these, always, it's same thing with the push-ups. Always make sure you have a neutral spine. Okay. So you don't want to have your torso leaning off to one side. You don't want to be too hunched forward, and you don't want to be overextending in the back. Always have that neutral spine. Okay. So core strengthening. This is something that is extremely important to us, especially as we age. This keeps us upright. As we're walking in a grocery store, okay, we're pushing the cart, we need to have the ability to, oh, hey, I can still push the cart and I can reach over and get my soup. I can reach down and get a case of water and have the ability to stand up nice and straight to put it in my car. Your core is involved in every single thing that you do, from getting out of bed to standing up to doing any exercise. You need to have a strong core. Breathing is going to be extremely important when you're doing these as well. Okay. So the first core exercise we're going to do, I'm going to move here a little bit, is on the floor. All you're going to do is lay on your back. So I'm going to move this so you can see Shelby. So as you're laying on your back, one thing I always like to do before starting my core exercises is just let my knees fall to one direction and stretch my low back. So again, slow breathing, stretch that low back. Go about 2 to 3 to each way. Again, breathing, not going too far, just letting your back and core know, hey, I'm about to come work you out a little bit. So what we're going to do, our first exercise is called a dead bug. All you're going to do from the laying position on your back is you're going to pick your legs up at your hips, and then your knees are going to be bent at 90 degrees. And all you're going to do is have your arms stick straight up. Now, this might be challenging for some of you, so just practice getting this position, holding it for 10 seconds and relaxing. From here, one arm and one leg are going to extend or kick out, so your right arm and left leg will kick out, nice and slow, and come back together. Then you're going to switch. Always keeping the non-moving side right underneath you or right above you. Now, if this begins to get too easy, you can do your arms and your legs together. So what it would look like is your legs would kick out together, come back in together, and your arms do the same thing at the same time. Always, always, always breathe. For this, my biggest recommendation to you guys is do it on a softer surface. 9 times out of 10, the limiting factor isn't the core muscles themselves, but it's the back discomfort of being on a hard surface. So again, slower the better, always breathing, and try to do this one on a softer surface. So from this position as well, we're going to do a crunch. So again, always stretch out that low body side to side. And all we're going to do for these crunches, if you need to make it easier, feel free to put pillows underneath your back. I did not grab my pillows because we were snowed in yesterday. But all you're going to do is lift your arms straight above your shoulders, and reach straight up while contracting your abs and coming back down. This is not supposed to be a jerky motion. It's supposed to be a slow motion. Reach up off the ground and go back down nice and slow. Always go slow. Always remember to breathe. Now, again, this is something that can be done in a number of ways. If you do want to make it easier, put a pillow behind your back. So after you go up all the way, or as soon as you complete the up motion, you can complete a full range. Again, breathe and don't push your back too into the ground. Go ahead and do a full crunch for me all the way up, right there, and down nice and slow. Up, down nice and slow. Now, Shelby did actually level 4, which would be the advanced 2.0. She actually picks her feet up as she crunches in and out. That would be something that you can work towards in the future. Okay, that was our core strength. Always make sure you do an equal number of sets and reps for each exercise that you do, so you do not create any imbalances. If you're going to do 10 of the dead bugs, do 10 crunches. Just because they're working different muscles, that's the whole design of them. You don't want to do only the dead bugs or only the crunches. These are designed to be used together to correct any imbalances you may already have and prevent any imbalances from occurring in the future. Okay. Lower body strength. You use your legs for just about everything. I know I got about 18 inches of snow last night or 2 days ago at my house. My legs got a lot of use for shoveling. We want to stay away from shoveling with our low back. What I mean, we always want to stay away from this jerky motion, especially when we get older. So as we're shoveling, we can begin to use our legs. Lower body strength is important in preventing injuries as well. If you do have a lot of lower body strength, you're going to be able to do a lot more from a lot of different positions. Another cool thing about lower body strength is as your body sends blood to the lower body, as you're doing a squat, maybe you're even doing cardio, it increases your venous return. So what that means is actually more blood is going to flow back into your heart, increasing all of your blood flow. So working your upper body is great. Yeah, there's smaller muscles. Working your lower body is actually important in just getting that blood back to the heart. And if you improve your lower body strength, you actually improve something called your resting metabolic rate, or the calories that your body burns at rest. If you can increase that, I know I haven't said the magic words yet, but you can actually lose weight or increase the amount of weight you're losing just by increasing the amount of strength in your lower body. Last thing, as we age, living independently is our entire goal. Living independently and safely is a completely different thing. As you have that lower body strength, it's going to allow you to live independently and safely for a number of years to come. So the first thing that we're going to do is all you have to do is put one foot in front of the other right here, as Shelby is going to do. Always go slow. So you don't even have to move from this position. Just stay right there. Always keep your eyes up. And if you need to, go ahead and put your arms out for balance. It will help you. It will keep you upright. It will make sure that you're not going anywhere. And if you need to, you can catch yourself. So what I like to do from this position is just think about as you're balancing on one foot. So go ahead and balance on your left foot, Shelby. And then as soon as you're ready, go ahead and put your right down in front. So go ahead, yep. And as you're comfortable in this position, you can actually go ahead, step on your right, balance on your right foot. And then whenever you're ready, go ahead and put that left foot down in front. So as you get more comfortable in this position, you can do it forwards. You can also do it backwards. So go ahead and move that left foot back, Shelby. Always have your feet closer together. If you are beginning in this, you can have your feet a little bit wider. Always safety first, then effectiveness. If you need to have your feet a little bit wider, no big deal. Now, if flat feet begin to get too easy, you can go ahead and do it on your toes. So as you're up on your toes, again, posture is important, keeping your eyes up. This is where it might be beneficial to have those arms out so you can kind of check yourself. And same thing as you were doing before. As you kind of begin to get comfortable, have an attitude. Move that foot whenever you're ready. Put that foot down whenever you're ready. Same thing moving backwards. You can actually move backwards on your toes. Nice job. And then the last one on here is you can actually do it forward on your heels. So I'm going to give Shelby a little bit of help on this one. Going forward on your heels is extremely difficult. Pause right there. So what I like to do, instead of trying to walk forward on my heels the entire time, I like to do it with flat feet and then just worry about picking my toes up once. Go ahead, pick your toes up, put them down, and then step. So toes up, toes down, step, toes up, toes down, step. So this is working all of those lower body muscles, as well as working on some balance as well. Okay. So we always have a chair with us. What we're going to do is we're just going to start with an easy squat. The easiest way that you can do this is just sitting in a chair. I'm going to be a stickler on how I tell you guys to do squats. Squats are a dangerous exercise if you do them in an incorrect manner. So we always want our feet shoulder width apart. We always want our feet entirely on the ground. Oftentimes when we stand, we just throw all of our weight forward and hope that we come up. If you have your entire foot on the ground, it'll help you keep your weight back. It'll help you keep your balance. As you're in the chair, you always want to scoot towards the front of it so you're not going to fly backwards. Scoot towards the front, feet shoulder width apart, maybe even a little bit wider, hands in the front, or if you have a chair with arms on it, you can have them on the side. Your hands are going to be in front, and you're slowly going to let your momentum come forward, slowly standing up. Now, as you sit down, slow is important on the way up, slow on the way down as well. Again, feet are shoulder width apart. Your flat entire foot is on the ground. You're allowing your momentum to carry you a little bit forward, but not launch you. Your shoulders are back, your eyes are up. You're slowly going to stand up and down. So once you can get 10 or 12 out of a chair pretty easily, you don't need the chair anymore. All you're going to do is have your hands on top of a desk, on top of a counter, on top of a sink. Doesn't matter. Again, feet shoulder width apart. You're going to slowly reach your butt back. Go ahead. In a nice slow position, slow down, slow up. Shelby did a really good job keeping your eyes up there and your chest up. One weird thing I always like to do when I'm squatting is whatever wall I'm facing, I like to make sure that wall can read my shirt. If that wall can read my shirt, I know that the ground can't read my shirt and that my torso is upright. If your eyes are down, more likely than not, you're going to end up down. If your eyes are up, more likely you're going to be able to maintain that upright position and complete your squat from an upright position. Again, posture is important in everything that we do. So once you got out of the chair, once you don't need the counter for support, you can do just what I would call an air squat. So again, feet flat on the ground, feet shoulder width apart, hands in front, you go down nice and slow. You're breathing and breathe out on the way up. Go ahead and show us that again. Slowly on the way down. And you're going to breathe out right now on the way up. Awesome. Okay. As we're moving forward here, next thing we have is a lunge. So this can be tricky. This can be tricky with knee pain and hip pain. So as we lunge, we always want to give ourselves more support than not. Enough support rather than not enough support to start. So Shelby, go ahead and flip that chair around so you have two supports by you. Okay. You're going to start just by sticking one foot in front and the other foot behind. Upright position. And then slowly bend both knees to go down and back up. With this one, it's very important that your weight doesn't shift too far forward, but it goes straight down and straight up. Individuals with mobility issues, such as chronic knees, such as chronic hips, such as chronic low back, this is something you always want to do in the rep area until that pain area is reached. So you can only go down 1/3 of the way. Only go down 1/3 of the way. There's no point in doing that other 2/3 of the exercise if you're getting a shooting pain going up the entire side of your hip every time you go down. So again, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, slow down. If that right there causes you knee pain, go ahead and go up. Always make sure you do an even number on your left leg in front compared to your right leg in front. So after you complete the beginner part, all you're going to do is the same exact thing, just no assistance. So you're going to have your hands in front of you or to the side of you, doesn't really matter. Bigger step, if you do not need the assistance of a chair, a desk beside you, go ahead and take a bigger step. Shelby's just going to have her hands in front of her this time. Slowly go down, slowly coming up, and then go ahead and switch legs. So you always have the same amount on each leg. Okay. Last way to make this one a little bit harder and still being safe is home is in the bottom phase of the lunge. Go ahead and go to the bottom, please. You're going to rotate to the front side leg. So this one incorporates a balance element that wasn't present in the other two. So go ahead. As her left leg was in front, she rotated to her left side. Now her right leg's in front. She is rotating to her right, then slowly standing back up. Go ahead and do one more on each side. Pause. Pause right there. Now, as she's right here, you can see her body. She is still midline with everything. She is just turning her torso to add a balance element. She always returns to the middle before she stands back up. So last one, I know your legs are tired. Reach back, down, rotate, back to the middle, and slowly up. Again, slow posture breathing. I've probably said them with every single exercise. Those are my take home. Always do things slowly, always breathe, and always have good posture. Okay. I believe this is my last lower body exercise. So we just really focused on the front parts of our legs and our calves / our balance. We still have our glute muscles and our hamstring muscles. Those also keep us really, really upright. Our glutes and our hamstrings work a lot with our core to keep us upright, but we don't train them as effectively and as efficiently as we do our other muscles. So in order to combat that, and again, not create any imbalances, we can do a bridge. So again, go ahead and lay on your back Again, go ahead and let your knees fall to one side or the other. We are going to do a little bit of core and a little bit of glute hamstring. Awesome. So with your feet tucked up underneath you, all you're going to do is slowly pick up your hips, breathe, and slowly go down. This is something, go ahead and do 3 real quick for me, Shelby. You always want to keep everything underneath you. You always want to breathe. If you begin to fall off to one side, immediately go down in a safe manner. And this is something that you can make harder along the way. If the beginning part is too easy and you're not ready for the intermediate part, go ahead and just pick up your triceps or pick up your arms so they don't help you balance. So you can have them sticking straight up in the air or across your body like Shelby does. And again, she does the same exercise. She goes up, pauses at the top, breathing, slowly goes down. All right, go ahead and grab the chair, Shelby. So both of those begin to be too easy. You can do it with a chair as well. Doing it with a chair just makes it a little bit harder. Those of you who do have chronic low back pain, try to stay away from sticking your feet on a chair just because it leaves your back a little bit more open to injury. So you're going to do the same exact exercise. Arms across, pick your butt up even a little bit higher. You want to keep your torso as straight as possible and down nice and slow. Breathe out on the way up, breathe in on the way down. Out on the way up, in on the way down. I'm only going to make you do one of these, Shelby. Go ahead and show them the one leg. So one leg stands straight up, kick it straight up. The other one goes on top of the chair. Up, pause, down, switch legs. Up, pause, down. Kat, go ahead and stand up. You did an awesome job. Thank you, Shelby. Okay. So before I go on to wrap this all up, everything has to be done in a very safe manner. Safety always comes before effectiveness. If an exercise is not safe, I can guarantee you it is not going to be effective. Breathing in every exercise that you do. Always breathe in on the easier part of the exercise, or breathe in on the down part of the push-ups. Breathe out on the hard phase. Breathe out on the difficult phase of any exercise. And again, always keep good posture. You never want to do an exercise with a rounded back. Always that good posture, upright position, always breathing. So my recommendations to you, I will share this with Donna and she can distribute to everyone in this group and everyone who unfortunately wasn't able to make it today. Our recommendations for you is do 2 sets of 10 of everything. This won't allow any imbalances to happen. It'll keep your front in tune with your back. It'll keep your left in tune with your right. Again, always breathe. Go ahead. We would recommend you start at the beginner of each exercise. Once that begins to be too easy, work to the intermediate and the advanced. But again, always make sure you're doing it in a very safe manner. You don't want to jump to advanced just to say, oh, I can do the advanced part of an exercise. If you can't do it safely, there's no sense in even doing it at all. Again, these are just our recommendations to you guys. Anything is always better than nothing. This would be kind of the muscular strength, the muscular endurance and balance aspect that I would recommend you guys do at home. With that, you also need to do some type of cardio-based exercise. This can be as simple as walking around the house, walking up and down your stairs, walking to go get your mail a couple times a day, parking a little bit further away at the store. I know it's winter right now and it is cold, but we only hit muscular strength, muscular endurance, and balance today. But again, I would always recommend keeping that cardio in there as well. Can't forget any of the components that kind of create the entire airplane or human body, if you will. Okay. Martin Luther King Day was yesterday, so I threw this in there. We practice this every single day. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. We have seen magic come to life every single day with us. Individuals will come up to us. I haven't been out of my wheelchair in 13 years. We get them to buy into the system. We can modify any and every exercise to have some benefit to every individual who walks through our door. No different than you guys at home. anything is better than nothing. You can always modify whatever you're doing as long as it's going to have a better outcome in the future. We're all about it. Okay. If you guys do have any questions, here's all our contact info. I'll leave this up as you guys begin to ask your questions. Like I said, 3 locations: Hermitage, Youngstown, Wexford. Our kind of hub or our home base exercise or our home base facility would be that Wexford location, but we're in Hermitage Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Youngstown Tuesday, Thursday. Awesome. Thank you guys. Donna, if you want to go ahead and stop the recording right now, and then we can get to some questions for anyone who